Give it we'll give it one more minute here real quick. I see we're down to 4 pages, so this is great. I still making sure
share the packet
muted.
now with me.
We'll wait a second. Yeah.
So Takara, I think William was going to ask you to be able
I
to.
thought I heard somebody say my name. Are you asking for co-host?
You can see.
No, I just make sure I can share my screen and it appears I can. So we're good.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, still hear a little bit of noise.
I'm trying to go through and mute
I'm going
everybody,
through
but
as well.
I don't see.
Right.
It's weird.
Marilyn,
It looks like we're not able to mute. It's weird. I think most people are muted though.
I've been muting them on the backside as well.
All right, well, we'll get started. And just to make sure we're all at the right place is the Oak Tree Homeowners Association board meeting. Let's see. September 5th, 25th, and we'll call the meeting to order at 4:03 p.m. Our first item of business, and we'll eventually get the agenda up on the screen here, but we're making sure everyone's not checked in, but logged on. We have our July meeting minutes to approve. Oh,
So moved.
So moved. All right. I guess I'll second that. And they get approved. So your meeting minutes do exist on your homeowner portal, just so you know. I know Takara will make sure they get up onto the portal, all your previous approved minutes, and then eventually when we get these meeting minutes drafted, they'll get posted as well. So second item of business, and actually I was looking to see if they were here. Takara, did you see
Joel?
if Joel? Oh,
Yes.
There's Joel.
Mhm.
Okay, so we for the public comment section, this is like our kind of town hall forum-esque portion that we reintroduced earlier in the year. We didn't actually get any topics submitted for this meeting. However, we do have a special guest. We've invited Pacific Landscape Management to your meeting today to talk about landscaping, and we have Joel on the call. And I don't know if Steve is with us as well. And we're going to let them talk to you about PLM and some landscaping for our community.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Excellent. So thank you for letting us be part of the board meeting and some space on the agenda. We appreciate it. Steve and myself wanted to take this opportunity to
Bill Dickey.
Where'd you go?
Joel, we can't hear you.
Where'd you go?
I got muted somehow when I think I got auto muted. I'm not sure at which point I got cut off, so forgive me if I'm redundant. Goals for today, just opportunity to introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about our activities on site since becoming the landscape service provider, as well as ideas for the future and directions we're going. So my name is Joel Olivares. I'm the branch manager for Pacific Landscape Maintenance. And also with me, although he's in another office, Steve Martinez, who is the account manager for Ovation, who many of you have undoubtedly seen around the site. So Steve, that's when you get to say hello.
Good afternoon, all.
There
I'm
you
here.
go. Excellent. So a bit about PLM for those of you that aren't familiar with us. So Pacific Landscape Management is a Northwest company. It was originated in Portland, Oregon, started 24 years ago, and 3 years ago now, made its way up to Washington. So in Oregon, PLM is one of the larger commercial landscape service providers, been in the market for a long time and had a lot of industry experience. And one of the things that our owner and founder, his name is Bob Grover, had continually gotten was questions: when are you going to move up to Washington? We have properties up there as well. Who in Washington does what you do? We really like working with you. So he had a plan to come up to Washington that really took shape 3 years ago. The idea was they could do it organically or partner with existing companies. So my background, I was the managing partner for His Hands Landscape, we're here, Washington company. Other company in the market was Earthworks. PLM acquired both those companies very strategically. One, they wanted to ensure that we aligned with PLM's core values and would be able to replicate a lot of what was working really well for PLM. A lot of who we are came from our clients. It came from successes we had and also learning from our failures, but continually growing and adding upon that. So I'm very proud. I've known Pacific for a long time. For the last 3 years, I'm a proud employee of Pacific. So that's a little bit about who we are. And, in Washington, the companies that we acquired, I'm very proud of the legacy company that I came from, and a lot of very strong horticultural experience in the market. So we were able to continue the success that the other companies have had once we came on the PLM platform. Let me see, as far as our history in Thurston County. So I'm a Lacey resident. Steve's a Lacey resident, and one of our other managers, our water manager, is as well. Part of what we're doing at PLM is we want to continue our market presence, and I'm very incentivized. It's very important for me to grow within Thurston County. I'm a proud resident there, and I want to continue to provide opportunities for the employees that we have that live down in Thurston County. And so Ovation was definitely a site that we knew that we would love the opportunity to show that we can do what we can do. We knew that it would really help us to establish a presence in Thurston County. But we also realized in order to do that, we had to earn that through quality, through good service, and sustainability, just continually showing that we were the right choice. And so we're very proud of the work that we've been able to do. But to be able to be a service provider for Ovation was a really big deal to us. It was really important to us. I literally live 1.5 miles away from the entrance to Ovation. My family drives by there all the time, and I get feedback constantly, and I'm very proud to be able to take my family through there and show them a little bit about what we do. And everyone that works on the site is also extremely proud to be there. So I hope that shows through, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that we do that you may not see in our day-to-day. So I wanted a chance for Steve and I to talk about that a little bit. So that's a bit about who we are. And before I transition into a little bit of our strategies and how we operate. What we do goes way beyond the daily or the weekly service that we provide. Goes beyond mowing and keeping the beds pruned and weed free. With a community the size of Ovation, it takes a lot of forethought in terms of our planning. We've done a lot of work thinking through lessons learned. Steve's going to talk about what we feel were successes out there, and also areas of opportunity that really help to inform our future direction and plan. Our approach and how we look at the landscape, though, like I said, it goes beyond maintenance. We look at what we call asset management. Everything outside of the building foundation has a value. The irrigation and its components, the trees, the turf. If anything were to go wrong or if it needed to be replaced, that's a cost. Our approach is to protect the value of all of the landscape assets at Ovation, and as well as prolong the life expectancy. We want to make sure that we maximize what you have out there, and through proper management is how we do that. Steve is continually going through looking for what we'll call investments back into the landscape, as well as problem solving. The landscape, while it's generally in through general maintenance is where we upkeep it, it also takes periodic investments back into the landscape in order to protect that value. The lens we look through is exactly that. We provide proactive solutions and ideas for how to protect that value. And we always look at what the return on investment is from everything that we provide. Some of it is aesthetic, but a lot of it is things you're not seeing that are irrigation related. You know, they're literally below the ground and things you don't see. But without a plan for properly maintaining them, that value will decrease, and there will be a eventual spend that needs to be done to either repair it or bring it back up to par. Our goal is to make sure that it's always where it needs to be and continually improving. So that's accomplished a few ways. One is through the main way is through solid partnership. Steve does the majority of the work out there on a day-to-day basis. Strong communication, both short-term and long-term goal planning is the lens that we look through this. So, with the budget cycle that we're deep into, a lot of what Steve did was look at, he used his horticultural experience to make recommendations for future spends, but he also identified what the value of that spend was and what the need was. So our goal as partners there is to work within the budget that's established, to protect the budget, find additional ways that costs can be saved. Some of it, requires an upfront investment, but when that return on investment will show for years down the road. So that's some of the short-term as well as the long-term lens that we look through, when we look to manage the site. The budget process, it was pretty involved. Ovation's a community that is continually growing. Fortunately, we've got experience with similar communities and what it takes to maintain it currently, but also know what's coming on in the future. If we're just static, we're probably going to fail. So our goal is never to be static, but always look for what's coming up in the future. So we through the budgetary process, identified what it's going to look like as the community grows. We continually take on additional areas, more houses, there's more common areas, the villages coming online. There's a lot of future planning that goes into that and what that would entail. So, with that said, one of the things that I love the most about being a service provider at Ovation is it's very unique. I've been in the landscape industry for over 30 years now. I have never come across a community quite like Ovation. And what really makes it unique, the ratio, and this is interesting, we have all the measurements. There's almost exactly a 2-to-1 ratio of beds to turf. There's no other property I've ever maintained that has that, and that takes a special approach to do that. Steve's going to talk about some of the operational ways that he's looking to do that, but it's challenged us. Ovation's absolutely challenged us, but we're up for the challenge. I feel that it's made us better and continues to make us stronger. So, Steve, with that being said, if you want to get into your operational, some of the adjustments and portion that you want to speak about, I'll stop talking for a while and hand it off to you.
Thank you, Joel. And I'll with again, my main goal is to become a partner with the community, with the HOA being the most important part of this conversation. Again, being proactive is something that we take real pride in doing. It's a way to save money. It's a way to plan correctly. And not just doing that, but the horticulture practices that we use are correct for the plants. You'll notice some more natural pruning rather than the hard pruning that you've seen in the past. There's a reason why we do what we do and when we do it. We've had a lot of wins out there this year. Constant available communication with the community has been going very well. And I think as the contacts that I've had and dealt with, no, I am always available to the community. Using a lean program as we're going forward to keep the HOA's community's costs down, as we were able to find ways to make sure that we didn't have to raise prices going into next year, finding ways for efficiency instead of raising prices. Again, we're looking to be a value add to your landscape. Finding solutions again, proactively for turf areas that we've had out there, that we've used wetting agents and turf renovation to actually improve on some of the hardest areas to get improvement on the landscape. With the south facing lawns on Oakwood, it has made quite an improvement. And again, using proper horticultural practices for pruning, turf, tree trimming. And I think we made a lot of progress with the residents' perception of the value they're receiving for their landscape. The lessons we learned kind of going into the year is, we've got to be flexible. And one of the parts of being flexible is, as we've gone through the year and learned a little bit more about the site and how to address it, we are even talking about maybe changing our approach next year and creating a selective bed crew so that we have the maintenance crew for beds and turf so that we can kind of split those responsibilities up and divide and conquer as it gets bigger out there. So we're looking for we have found a lot of permanent solutions for irrigation issues that were pre-existing. We haven't gotten them all fixed, but we are well on our way. And I think that the community's shown a great improvement, especially since we've taken it over in the irrigation system in general. But we have spent a lot of investment in time and resources out there to make sure that you are, for the resources we're given, in the best shape that is possible for you out there. There is the need for possible pruning of the common areas for visibility. And Jennifer and I have been working together pretty closely on that to make sure that the safety of the community is, one of the top priorities out there. So for being a good steward and being a good partner, a good steward, and finding needs and planning for the HOA being paramount, we are still going to find ways to best invest for the resources we're given to make sure that we're finding permanent solutions rather than band-aids. And as we are doing plant replacements, we are adjusting the irrigation so that those plant replacements aren't needed again. Finding ways to, again, just understanding the existing solutions, finding a more cost-effective permanent solution, and doing things like protecting the asset landscape by turning off the irrigation water at a correct time for the whole horticultural practice. The irrigation out there has been off for 3 weeks now, more to save money for the HOA and to make sure that, we are not wasting resources again. But again, bringing value to the community for your investment into us to do so. And thank you very much for your time.
Thanks,
Thank
Steve. Yeah, I wanted to add one other thing too, is we talk internally quite a bit as a group, in terms of our planning. And I remember one of the things I wanted to share with everyone here is our crews really enjoy working on the site. I asked them why, and they said, well, we're proud of the work we do. We enjoy the site, but one of the things, and I thought it was unique that I really wanted to share, they said, everybody's been so friendly to us. They said, we feel very welcome there. Internally, the thing that I always remind my crews of, we're guests when we're on a property, and we want to ensure that we're very respectful, which includes, throw a smile. That's important. When working with hand tools and power equipment, do your best to, throttle it down as someone's walking by. And they've done that as much as they possibly can, but they said they've received quite a few friendly faces, a lot of waves. Some people have brought them drinks and other things that I found out about as a way to say thank you. And I just wanted you to know that they really enjoyed the positive feedback, and it really helps them to feel good about the work that they do. And they do enjoy very much working out there, but they also feel valued. And I think that's what matters most to them, is they feel that the work that they're doing, the efforts are recognized and they're valued. So I think everyone on this call has been part of that, because that is not the case on all of our sites. So I like my team to enjoy the work they do, and they all do. So.
Joel,
That's
did you want to talk
ahead.
about your recent awards?
Oh, did I forget something? Yeah,
You did.
absolutely. Okay, so we are part of an organization called the National Association of Landscape Professionals. It's a great organization that, from the educational resources to collaboration, They work to help pass, legislation where necessary on the national level. So it's a great organization to be part of. But one of the things that they do each year is they open it up for award submissions. And, there's been many years when I just haven't had one that a property that I felt confident enough or that I felt was deserving enough to enter into it for one reason or another. But I did enter Ovation in as a reward, as a participant in the competition through the HOA category specifically. So when I made the submission, I had to explain what was unique about the community, challenges, wins, a lot of photos. We had a lot of photos taken of it as well, but really explaining what was unique about it in the cruise approach and how we do what. I'm very proud to say that, as I was going through this, I realized this never would have been possible without partnership. It just wouldn't have been. A lot of what I was writing out and the photos that I was sharing with them, I thought were a result of that partnership. So very proud. I was very excited. 3 weeks ago, I got the email board saying that Ovation was awarded the silver medal for the HOA category, which is fantastic. My team is extremely happy. We really celebrated it in terms of the hard work that they're putting in. And, as they said to me, they said, we're very proud of the work we do. And they felt that it was a great submission. And honestly, we're excited about it. It's something that, so we're going to get a plaque. The award ceremony is in November, and I ordered an additional plaque, which I'll share with the community, which you can do with it what you like, but it was a great award of distinction, and I'm very, very proud of the team. And again, very proud of everyone on this call that was, again, helped to partner with that, because everything that we saw in that submission and those photos were just a testament to that. So thank you and congratulations.
All right, thanks. Well, I know that the landscape committee and myself, I'll speak for Steve as well. I know we've been really excited and feel like we made a great decision last year collectively to engage PLM on our site. So more good things to come, more good things ahead. So that's awesome. I think what we go to is our agenda. Our next topic was homeowner submitted questions, which we decided to just insert onto the agenda instead of just reading them. So actually, I'm going to hand it over to Dakara because the two questions that were submitted actually kind of relate to her field of expertise.
Thank you. Yes, so we had 2 questions come through that actually were items that I had planned on addressing during my lifestyle update. So I'm going to go ahead and read the question and then respond to it with the information that I have to provide. So the first question was gym and equipment. Could we please have someone redo the equipment info sessions in a format where we reserve a place with a maximum of 10 per session? I tried to attend the 9:13, but was way too many people. Alternatively, or in addition, could you provide someone who will meet with us one-on-one for a small fee to show us how to use each piece of equipment and suggest best choices for us? I tried to use the app, but it is difficult to use. So that is a great feedback. Thank you for that. Techno Gym is a company that is not local. So unfortunately, we will not be able to have them come in as frequently as we would like to. But the benefit of that is our weekend attendant, Luke, who is here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, is well-versed in the different uses of the different pieces of equipment. He is available to show you the correct ways to utilize it, how to get the most out of the app, as well as how to scan the QR codes that are on each of the pieces of machinery to show you the proper way to utilize it. For the physical, personal training aspect of it, we are not at a spot where we are offering anything to that capacity yet. We hope to roll out our wellness program here in the next few months, where we can start offering in-person fitness classes, possible different personal trainers that can come in that you can schedule time with. So that is something that we are working towards doing. But again, we appreciate the feedback, and hopefully that answers all of those questions. If not, please feel free to reach out to me directly and I can elaborate more on those. And we can try to get you the information that you need so that you can be successful in that. The second question is in regards to our coffee maker up here at the Villages. So the question says, could we purchase a second backup machine or replace this one with more reliable equipment? If we cannot, it would almost be better to remove it altogether. It is an annoying reminder of something not available when it's sitting out there with a sign stuck to it. Doesn't look good to prospective residents either. I will say I completely agree. And I wish that we didn't have to have the machine sit there unfunctioning. But a couple things for you. Part of the reason why it has taken so long for us to get that machine back up and running is that we have been fighting with Bun to get it covered under warranty. The piece that has gone missing inside the machine is what stops the coffee grounds from going into the plumbed line, which the machine itself is plumbed directly into the building. So it's not a simple remove it and hide it in a closet. And that piece we have to have, otherwise grinds can continue to flow into our plumbing and cause significant damage. So that piece alone, to have it replaced, if we were not under warranty, would be a cost of $800. So we have been fighting tooth and nail to get Bun to cover the machine under a 1-year warranty. And the good news is that I actually got confirmation from them today that our machine is now under warranty. So we will be able to move forward in getting that service and that piece installed. So we hope to have an update of that machine being up and functioning within the next week. In addition, the comment asked about a backup machine. We have added a Keurig up here at the Villages that once the Bun is fully operational, will also offer decaf coffee. That is something that the Bun does not currently offer. So again, I appreciate the feedback. A little bit more information as to why it's sitting there on the counter and not moved is because of the plumbing. And part of the reason why it has taken so long is we are trying to ultimately save the HOA money in the long run. So I hope that answered both of your questions. If not, please feel free to reach out to me directly and I can elaborate on those details for you, and we can try to find solutions.
I am going to piggyback on that. Takara has fought tooth and nail. This vendor hasn't been the most user friendly. And we did get a quote from a previous vendor that would have been a lot more to get. They wanted to actually remove the machine, take it off site and fix it for like weeks on end. And so she definitely pushed back and was professionally persistent, I would say. And we literally just about an hour ago got that email saying, well, great, we'll update your warranty date to this, your installation date to this. So we now are getting some warranty and some service. So I do appreciate her going to the bat for us on the coffee machine and for the association. So next item is the treasurer's report. So we'll jump to the Oak Tree 2024 financials. Let's see where those at. Whitney, do you have those? Is that in the management report? Sorry, I have two.
Sorry,
copies.
yep, we're gonna pull those up, and
Yep.
if you can just scroll down to the manager's report, I can go ahead and give that update.
Where'd my sheet go?
Should be the last page.
Yeah, I just have stuff paper clipped together. Oh, you're talking to her, not me.
So as of, this is based off of your August financials. So as of August 31st, in your total operating account, we have $919,749.82. In your checking operating account, we have $256,624.20. In our savings account / operating sweep account, we have $632,216.95. Other accounts, this includes our petty cash, prepaid insurance, stuff of that nature is $30,708.67. Our reserve fund currently holds $394,383.81. And as far as delinquency, you guys are so great. You guys have a small delinquency of $181. So that's amazing. Capital contributions for the month of August totals $14,400. That's 3 homes that closed in August. Year to date, capital contributions is $177,600 with 37 closed homes in 2024.
Okay. Grab my sheet. All right. Okay. So the next section is our overview from our committees. Let's see. First one up is Budget Advisory Committee, and I believe William is on the call to present.
Yes, and it appears I now don't have the ability to share my screen. So would someone please give me that
Yeah, I think
option?
Stephanie just needs to, there we go, perfect. You should have access now.
And William,
There
I just gave you access as well.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. All right. Give me 1 second, everyone, to get this going. All right. I'm going to make a quick comment before I do our normal quick little budget advisory committee review. Pacific Landscape Maintenance. One key thing that they said that I want everyone to pay close attention to, and this is probably the key factor the Budget Advisory Committee has really come to recognize this year. We are a community in rapid growth. We are in rapid growth. We not just adding homes, we're adding acres and acres of land. So just want to plant that seed. So that's, they're doing a terrific job. And there's more and more acres out there for them to maintain. So during this, every board meeting, every quarter, we kind of like to go through what we call some KPIs. I want to kind of go through these. These help us kind of judge how we're doing. But I also want to give you some budget definitions. We're real close on budget season. So let's go ahead and go through this. So let's get right to an important one. How are we doing on our budget, on our expenses? Well, we do an analysis every month and we say, okay, year to date, if we look back at the last 4 years and we average for 4 years, what percentage of the total budget have we spent historically through the end of August? And that percentage is 58%. This year, through August, we've spent 56%. So we're very reasonable there. We're right in line. Now, the reason we do the percentages, just explain this real quick. Our expenses do not evenly come out throughout the year. They vary greatly. A bulk of our expenses come in the third quarter. Think about water. Think about a lot of landscaping. So that's why we do that analysis that way. Now, a term that you're going to hear coming into the budget season. So for those of you new on the call, this is good for you to know. For others who've heard it before, nice little refresher. Capital contributions, that $4,800 from new home sales, that money goes straight into our cash. Now, if you're looking at our financial statements, you're not going to find it as income. It doesn't go to the income statement. It's an equity item. So if you're looking at the financials and you say, well, where's the capital contributions on the income? It's not income. It goes straight to the balance sheet. Now, another key thing to realize, those contributions end when the last home is sold. So they're not going to be there forever. Now, here's a key thing for people to understand, because there has been confusion on this over the years. The purpose of the capital contributions, they don't go to buy anything. They didn't go to buy the villages. They don't go, they go to subsidize our monthly assessment during this build out period. They help hold down the amounts of our monthly assessments. All right, so let's look at those capital contributions. So we can kind of see here visually what has happened historically. Note something. I want to do, we had a lot of new people on the call today, and we've had we're in rapid growth. There's a whole lot of new homeowners. Look back at what happened in 2022. In that entire year, only 10 houses closed. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That I'm going to bring that up to another point. All right. So here is your Budget Advisory Committee's perspective on relying on capital contributions. We follow the philosophy of don't count your chickens before they're hatched. What we mean by that is we shouldn't depend on something hoped for. I hope this money comes in until you know for certain that it's happened. So here's how we approach it. That capital contribution, the 3 that came in August, that money goes straight into our cash. That's great. I like cash. Cash in the bank is highly reliable. You can depend on cash in the bank. So our perspective is the assessments, that's the monthly amount we pay, and cash, that's our two sources for paying expenses. Now, we're not ignoring the fact that new homes are being sold and those capital contributions are coming in. We're just not relying on 2024 assessments, capital contributions to support the 2024 expenses. Those go into cash and they'll be accumulated, and we'll use them for our 2025 expenses. So with that approach, with that looking at things, it is important during these next 8 to 9 years, as we continue building out, that we maintain a high cash balance so we continue to have money to subsidize those monthly assessments. So another key indicator we use is net assets. We use this to really judge our financial strength of our HOA. How financially strong are we? So here's kind of a history. Now, remember I said, look what happened back in 2022? So for those of you that weren't around, and those of you that were, and maybe you've forgotten, in 2022, that year when only 10 new homes closed, our net assets, our financial strength plummeted $281,000 in a single year. That's what happens when you count on something that hasn't happened yet. Now, we have built that up. We have built that financial strength back up. And if you look at December 31st of last year, August this year, we're within $4,000. We are staying nice and financially strong. We like it that way. Now, so why maintain that high net assets? Well, I indicated one of the pieces, but the other thing that's very common, it is industry standard for an HOA to maintain 3 months of operating expenses in cash. Well, based on our current budget, that should be about $342,500. This year, we allocated $362,000 of cash to subsidize. So that means we should try to always maintain, on this current year budget, at least $704,000 in cash. And we're sitting at $830, so we are in a nice, strong position. That is my review. I'm going to go ahead, Jennifer, and turn it back over to you, because you've got a lot of agenda to cover.
Great. And I know probably people are wondering and asking, what is next year's assessment? We haven't dialed that in yet. We've had a lot of meetings and talks. We're still dialing in the last few numbers and kind of looking at that and making last minute adjustments. So we don't have an actual assessment for 2025 yet that we can share, but we're definitely working on it, and we will make sure we'll be sending out information much, much sooner than we have in the past. So we will let you know when it should be hitting your mailboxes. Let's see. Next one is ACC committee, and I believe Chris Alosi will be speaking on behalf of that committee today. I'm trying to see if I can see her.
Unmute. I'm right there.
There she is.
Here I am. And I am speaking for Smitty, who is out of town and hopefully having a wonderful time. We have a couple things that we wanted to bring up. One, the fact that there are people who are doing projects with no ACC. And we want to remind everybody that before you start a project, be sure and submit your ACC, and that your application can take up to 30 days. There is no such thing as an expedited approval. I know some of you have seen that happen in the community, but it's not good. And that's not something we want to make a practice of. So if everybody will just remember, turn in your ACC, give us 30 days for the committee to review it, for it to get to Jennifer, get to Steve, and we can give you a quick answer. Signatures of neighbors on the ACC request do not indicate approval of the project. They just indicate that you are aware. Okay, so everybody can know that. It doesn't mean you're approving of the fence painting or whatever. You're just saying, I am aware that this is happening. So you still have time in that 30 days to give a phone call to Steve or Jennifer and say how you feel about the project. So the signatures, we just needed that. The other thing we wanted to say is thank you for those that have filled out their ACCs and put in all the details. It makes life much nicer for the committee and then to pass it on to the board. So we appreciate the details. I think that's about it. Most of our ACCs are done really well, and we want to thank everybody for that. But for those that are not doing them and just doing their projects, or not completing the full process, we need a little bit of work on that. So thank you very much.
Thanks. I'm just going to actually kind of elaborate on a point that Chris spoke to, your acknowledgement signatures. So also on your ACC applications, it does say that you as a homeowner have 5 days after you've seen your neighbor's project. If you do have concerns or issues or questions, you should be reaching out to the board. I would actually reach out to via the portal or through Takara, so she can make sure both board members get it. We don't want you reaching out us to individually, because we work as a collective, not a vacuum. So just a little clarification. She's not wrong, but we just don't want you to like trying to get a hold of
Kind of
Steve
wrong.
or myself. Yeah, yeah. So because we want to also track it and make sure you know we keep track of that. So if you do have issues and questions or concerns, you know, you do have that 5-day window. And part of the 30 days is we do try to expedite them and get you a response and an approval, you know, a result sooner than that. But it does allow us some time, because sometimes there's questions and there's more information that needs to be provided to make sure that we are doing our due diligence in those applications. But yes, please submit applications before projects. We understand that there's some time sensitive weather windows that we're and vendor availability that we're working with. So unfortunately, if you submitted over a weekend, it probably won't get reviewed until Monday at the earliest. So just be mindful of you know, we don't review those on weekends. And I know a couple people have submitted things over the weekends and then immediately started projects. So let's make it work for all of us. So just be mindful.
Jennifer, the
Yeah,
clarification.
not a problem. Thanks. You know, and it's not the first time we've mentioned it, and we'll just, you know, it's just a good reminder as we go through these on and off busy cycles with ACC requests. Next group is a landscape committee, and I did see Craig and Lydia both on the call, so I will let either
Hi,
one of them
everybody.
speak. There's Craig.
Craig Gable here. I'm the chair of the landscape committee. First, I want to give a shout out to the strength of our partnership with PLM. It was certainly brought up, but as a working committee, and we've been at this for a long time, as the community has grown, the partnership that we've created with PLM is far and above any previous relationship we've had with landscape vendors. So kudos to them, and we look forward to continuing to build upon that and strengthen it as we go forward. You probably, as homeowners, have seen a lot of activity going on in late summer and into now early fall. I guess one of the more recognizable things is the meadow as you enter into our community. It has been mown, and we're in the process now of plant and tree trimming throughout the community, including the common areas. It will be completed for homes before Thanksgiving. That will give you as homeowners the opportunity to do outdoor decorations. So without the fear of somebody coming along after your decorations are up and attempting to trim things. The people from PLM had mentioned the irrigation system. It isn't shut down. It's more in a pause pattern right now, based upon the cooler temperatures and the rain that we're having. There's the opportunity to sort of pause the system. We will go through towards the latter part of October, a total shutdown of the system and a blowout of the system. we've been working, one other item to bring up, the parking strips and the corner sightline trimming. It's certainly over the years been brought to our attention, especially along Oakwood and some of the intersections where it's really difficult to see oncoming traffic on Oakwood. And through information that we gathered from the county, we are now trimming those sight lines back to the desired level that the county sets as the standard. And basically that's about a 30-foot cut back at the corners. We've been working really diligently with the Budget Advisory Committee and the HOA Board regarding recommendations for the landscape portion of the budget for 2025. It's been probably I've been here for 6 years. This is probably one of the best years in terms of the information that flowed from our committee to the Budget Advisory Committee and the strength of the information that they had to complete the budgeting process. It's been a work in progress to get us to this point, but I think going forward, we've got a really good template in place to be able to manage this process on an annual basis.
Oh, you done already?
Whoop, am I still on?
You are,
are
but
still
people that are
on.
joining the chat or the meeting now, if you could make sure you mute yourself upon entry, that'd be great.
We've been working with other committees and the HOA board regarding welcome ladder packets for new homeowners. And that process is underway. And last but not least, we're looking for volunteers for our committee. We have a number of members that will be rolling off of our committee as they complete their 2-year tenure process. It's a really good committee, very active membership. We try and maintain a membership level of 6 to 8 members. And as I said, we've got a couple of people that will be rolling off come the first part of the year. So we welcome people. If you are interested, let Takara know, and then she will make sure that we as a committee become aware of that. And probably the thing that we will first do is invite you to come to one of our committee meetings so you can see the inner workings of the committee before you decide if you really want to throw your hat in the ring. So that's it from me.
Great, thank you. And the next committee is our newest committee, and that is our amenities committee. And I believe Belle, I saw you on the call earlier too. Where is she? Go ahead and unmute.
There we go.
There you are.
Good afternoon. I'm Belle Mills, and I'm actually here with, oh, I got an echo. We just met this afternoon, so I'm here with 3 other community members that are on our committee, and I saw some that are also out there listening. So I'm glad that we're all actively on the meeting. We're a newly formed committee. We've had 4 meetings, and we're actively working on recommendations for the amenities to propose to the board. We hope to have together a survey in the next couple of months to get out to the owners to get their feedback on usage and hours, etc. But right now, we're out there. We've broke into responsibilities and assigning the different amenities so we can divide and conquer and, get out there and talk to our residents and find out what they'd like to see, and then submit those proposals and recommendations to the board. So we're short but sweet because we're new.
Is that it?
Yep.
Great. Yeah, we had our first board check-in. We have a check-in meeting prior to the board meeting with all of our committees. And we just had our first one with the amenities committee, and they had a lot of great feedback and suggestions that we'll work with them on. pretty excited because I think they bring a lot of good energy and good suggestions on how we can better manage our amenities, to maintain our amenities, and program our amenities. So all of that is great. I did see something pop up in the chat. And someone said, do you acknowledge receiving a request? And I just wanted a clarification. If you want to in the chat, you can answer it. Are you specifically speaking to a landscaping request or a request in general? Because I can't remember when a landscaping. Okay, I would recommend, I hate to say this, but I would recommend submitting it again in the portal. We like it in the portal because it allows us to track. Unfortunately, there was a period of time where we weren't getting things accurately inputted into our system. And so a few of those may have gone through the cracks. And we are focusing. We recently had a call with PLM and the landscape committee and the board to talk about our priorities on maintenance as well. And we're trying to address some things that may have not gotten resolved and or once again through the cracks. So if you can do that, that would be great. We are actively working on those. So good question. Someone asked about a pool, TBD later in the agenda. So
That's what I was going to say. I believe that's being addressed by you and not by us.
oh, yep, nope.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so the next section from we go to is the manager's report. So we have a brief property maintenance report. And Stephanie, I believe if you don't mind sharing that, I believe Whitney had to pop off. Keep going. There you go. I'll go ahead and read it since Whitney normally is here, but she actually has another board meeting and ran a little bit later, so she had to pop off. So the board has engaged Compliance 360. This is someone who will be out on the site and they drive in a car that's very well marked. Those of you might remember it if you lived here during kind of the COVID era. We did have Compliance 360 come around, and what they do is they have a little camera and they just sort of take snapshots of the community, and it allows us to do compliance and notices and conditions of the community because right now we are short in staff. So it allows us to kind of still keep our eyes on the community. We'll let you know when they start driving around. And I think last time we were able to provide a photo of the vehicle. It's pretty obvious that that's what they are, but we'll try to get that information out again to the community. We found it was a helpful resource just because we don't have as many eyes on the ground and people to do that as we transition into a different staffing model. And I'll speak to that in a little bit too. Currently working with the partners group, they're our insurance broker, working on the 2024-2025 premium renewal. And that actually ties in a little bit with our reserve study. We're working with the reserve study group as well, who have done all of our previous reserve studies. Updating our 2025, we are in a 3-year cycle with reserve studies. So this one that we're going to be scheduling and engaging is an on-site study. It's the most comprehensive study. And, oh, sorry, I missed Miriam. I just happened to, my eyes just looked over and caught the chat. So Miriam, yes, I'll get to you in just a second. So yeah, we'll be doing an on-site reserve study, which is great timing for us since the villages are now built. And even though we had plans and whatnot, it's nice to actually see it. So I am so sorry I missed Miriam in the communications committee. So I'm going to go back to the communications and I'll let Miriam speak. I am so sorry. I did that last time.
Yes, you did. I'm starting to get a complex.
No, I think it's just, unfortunately, you're getting me at the end of a very busy day and I am scatterbrained.
Well, luckily I'm pushing.
Yeah, sorry. I was just
pushing enough to remind you
of the chat. And yeah, so thank you for reminding me.
And I know most people have heard this report before, but you know, there are always new people, as we've said, and we always like to remind people of what we're up to. And some great news for the communication committee is as we've got some new members joining the committee soon. And so starting next year, you know, hopefully we'll have we'll be able to manage things more easily and not stress anybody out. But we're a group of volunteers from the community that generally have come from communication and creative backgrounds. And so we bring those skills to helping keep the communication within the HOA and the community efficient and timely and engaging. We do several things to kind of help with that. And I'll just go through those quickly. We help you stay in the know by creating a newsletter every other month. The newsletter is written by community volunteers, and it covers things that are happening in the community, things that are coming up, and just really, we try very hard to kind of create a nice sense of camaraderie and connection within the community. So those come out every other month, and they're posted on our Facebook group. And we also send them out via email and PDF. And then there's a limited number of printed copies that are available at both the villages and the pavilion. So we hope you read those, because I think lots of questions I see even today here in this chat for this meeting and on the Facebook page, the answers are out there. We've already given you the answers. And so, just keep yourself in the know by paying attention. We also have an opt-in community email list that we are able to send out the newsletter, things like the standing ovations list. When we update the Ovation Nation handbook, we can send updates out there. So you can contact me if you want to join that list. It's news that's like outside of a kind of official HOA and board parameters. So we don't use it very often, but it's another good way for you to stay in the know. We are going to be transitioning to a better system. Mel and I have been using our personal Comcast accounts, which has been getting harder and harder to manage. And so we're going to be, I think, being able to piggyback onto a system like what Takara uses. So that'll be easier for us to manage. So look for some communication about that, because that it's great news that we're going to be able to do things more easily and more efficiently. We also work really closely with the members of the board in kind of representing the community perspective when they're sending out some of their messages about things going on in the HOA. We often get a chance to put our eyes on it and just make sure that the messages are clear and concise from a homeowner's perspective. And we very much appreciate the ability to do that and to represent you in that regard. I also encourage you to, if you're not getting on the portal regularly, I really encourage you to do that. The documents section of the portal is really the most robust at this point. There's not a lot of custom content like a website there, but the document section is pretty robust, and we think it's pretty well organized. And you'll find links to past board meetings so you can watch recordings. There's all kinds of tip sheets. And that Ovation Nation handbook that I mentioned, that is something that I've created that really gives you a kind of a high-level overview of all kinds of contact information, how the different committees work, how the HOA works, and even things like in divisions 1 and 2, a lot of us had problems in the wintertime with our hot water not working because the outside valves were freezing. So we put together a tip sheet on how to solve that problem. So there's lots of those kinds of things out there. And lastly, we do have a Ovation Residents Facebook group that any resident is welcome to join. The purpose of that group is also just to share resources to increase their camaraderie. It's not an HOA website. The board and Nova management don't see it. So asking questions there that are really related to things that they're in charge of doesn't really get you anywhere. And we try to keep the content there very positive. You can just search for the Ovation at Oak Tree Residents Facebook page and join that. And if anybody has any questions or suggestions for newsletters and that kind of thing, we will be doing our November-December newsletter starting in the mid-October. We'll have a deadline for submissions around October 15th. And we welcome ideas, suggestions, pictures, articles, stories. We'd love to do some interviews with some interesting people too. So if you have a suggestion of one of your neighbors has done something particularly interesting in their life or has taken a really great trip maybe let us know and we can interview them. And so we all get to know one another in a positive and helpful way. So that's it for me.
Thank you, and I apologize again for missing you. I wrote a note that says, don't miss her next time.
No problem.
I'm doing a little too much these days. That's okay. All right, Stephanie, do you mind sharing that management report again for everyone? Perfect. So where we left off was just some general updates and reminders. And usually these come based upon questions, comments, feedback that I believe in this case, most likely Takara has received and or the board. So once again, just a general reminder, please use care and clean up when using the amenities. So that would be the villages and the pavilion. Yes, we do have a cleaning service, but I think we just need to make sure that when we're using it, we're just cleaning up for the next group or the next person. So that would be great. Pets should always be on a leash when in common areas and owners must clean up after their pets and keep them off neighboring yards. So this is something that comes up a lot. We do have Thurston County and City of Lacey leash laws that are in effect. So I know the last meeting we had to ask homeowners to be mindful and making sure their pets are still on leashes on the preserve because there are delicate flora and fauna in there that can get trampled. So once again, just a general reminder about leashing. And then Takara, do you want to answer this next one?
Security cameras? Yes, I do. So, excuse me. So we have been actively researching what is the best solution to install exterior security cameras here at the villages. We are working through some network issues as well as finding a resource that will house that raw data for us and also will help us to monitor it. So we are in the process of narrowing down our selection from a large list to hopefully just a couple, and hopefully we'll be installing those very soon. I welcome any feedback from anyone in the community that has experience with personal use of securities or even at a business standpoint. If they have pros or cons for a company that they've used, that they loved or they hated, please, we are all ears. There's no wrong suggestion at this point. We just really want to get the best fit for the community so that we can have our amenity always being secure. I know that everyone is aware that Taylor Morrison does have a security team that does do roving around the community. Their focus is not the HOA and our amenities. They are gracious enough to support us, but we want to make sure that we have our own resource here up at the villages to make sure that, you know, every time people are coming in and out, that the doors are secured and that we don't have any stragglers. So again, hopefully we will have an update that we can share with the community very, very soon. But again, if you have feedback or suggestions on how we can best fit the needs of the villages, please reach out to me.
I will mention that we need Wi-Fi based cameras. So keep that in mind with your suggestions. And then something here. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Security, yes. So we are working on that, and they just need to be Wi-Fi based. And then actually, I got a very lengthy email from the Oak Tree construction team about being mindful in construction and Div 4. And this obviously will apply to any division moving forward. And I think for those of you who've been around a while, you've heard this before. So just, safety first. I think you saw the email. Just please be mindful. I know that we've had a lot of very close misses with some individuals and not being seen by trucks backing out of driveways, walking in the middle of the road. We're not saying don't walk there. Just be mindful of the times when you walk there. I think when they're actively during the day constructing might be a little bit less advantageous than maybe when they're not there later in the day. So just please be cautious. Don't get close to workers. Don't bend over. We've had to chase down unfortunate people's dogs who've gotten off leash into construction zones. So, just be mindful about that. We don't want anyone to get hurt. And there are signs that do say hard hat area. So please also respect any construction related signage that, is asking you to be safe, I guess. I don't need to beat a dead horse on that. So it looks like in the report, the ACC communication log, work orders, and all the committee minutes were included for the board. And we did get that prior to the meeting. So it looks like the next section is you, Takara. And Let
It's
you do your
me.
lifestyle update.
So I just want to touch base really quick on one thing that Jennifer said. Please take care when using the amenities. One thing that we have noticed, unfortunately, more frequently is that the accordion door at the pavilion is not being secured after use. So if you are unfamiliar with how to unlock that door, a lot of residents from the previous pavilion committee were gracious enough to put together a YouTube channel that is, I believe it's Oak Tree Homeowners or Oak Tree HOA. If you go on there, it has instructional videos on how to utilize the amenities at the pavilion. Or you can always reach out to me directly and I can schedule a time with you to go through those items. But if you open the accordion door, please, please, please make sure that before you leave that each portion of that door is secured, especially as we get into our colder months. That way we don't have anybody that tries to access our beautiful amenities. So just kind of piggybacking on that one before we jump into my lifestyle report. So going into the lifestyle report, I had two things that I've already addressed, but I just want to double down really quick on the Techno Gym demo days. One thing is the Techno Gym rep actually emailed me over some instructions on how to utilize the app and some of the equipment. So if you have further questions and Luke is not able to answer those, please feel free to submit those over to me and I can ask Techno Gym specifically, or I can forward you the one sheet that they have sent over to me. So again, we did touch base on Techno Gym. We did touch base on fun. So the Villages has, as we know, 18 TVs, and accessible on those 18 TVs is Root Sports and NFL Sunday Ticket. And I know quite a few residents have been already taking advantage of the NFL Sunday Ticket. So I invite all of you to wear your team's jerseys or colors and come up on a Sunday and enjoy watching football with your community. It is not something that we are scheduling as far as a lifestyle event, but we hope that you guys will use it as an opportunity to build connections with the community, branch outside of your neighbors and meet new people in other divisions. So please take advantage of that. And we look forward to seeing you guys up here more frequently. Next topic is reservations at the Villages. Now, we did say at the last board meeting that we were going to hopefully have some feedback for the community on what that would look like in this year. After meeting with the amenities committee, we are going to continue to postpone accepting any reservations for private events at the Villages until the entirety of 2024. So we will hopefully have more information that we can send out to you guys in the next little bit. But right now we are not accepting any private reservations for the Villages. That doesn't mean that you can't come up here and utilize the space with your neighbors and your community members. It just means that should you be gathering in one of the main spaces and another community member comes in, they have just as much access to that space as you. So please do your part and make sure that everyone feels welcome up in our beautiful new amenity, and that no one ever feels as if that they are, overstepping or taking up space that they should be equally allowed to take up. So, and then last thing is, now that we do have our beautiful new Villages Amenity Center, we have more room, but as we all know, it is not nearly as large as we would like it to be for the size of our community. So I am asking if anyone has suggestions on how they think we should schedule our holiday parties for the community. And I say parties plural because we are most likely going to have a couple. Reach out to me and let me know what your suggestions are. Our goal is to try to accommodate as many people as possible while keeping the feel intimate and also fun, and also staying within our budget so that we're being mindful of that. So again, I'm open to suggestions and ideas from anybody in the community that might have some ideas of how we can, break in our new amenity center for our first ever holiday party up here. So that is all I have as far as lifestyle at this time.
Thanks. I will just bring up something that I saw come in the chat. Someone said people need to remember to turn off the TVs and lights when they leave. They're on at 4 in the morning sometimes. Well, I know the building hours are at 4. So I think we do have on our list, and it was one of the recommendations that came through from the amenities committee at one point, where there's some things that we want to look at in terms of lights and heat and things like that. So we have that on our list too, but a very good reminder. Someone asked also, where to go? Preserve trail extension to the steps of the village. Yes, it will extend. Yes, it's in progress. We have to have an arborist come out and do an assessment in order to get approval for that. But yes, they're working on that, and it will eventually connect to the existing trails. I know that the VP of construction was working on that, and I had provided him some names of some people we worked with at the community for the Oak Tree Preserve and an arborist. So I know he's trying to get that dialed in. There is one question about Monday Night Football and whether or not that NFL stuff works. We'll have to look into that. I can't answer that. I don't know that off the top of my head. So Takara, if you can see that and take note, we can follow up on that.
I will make sure that I get an update for the person that is asking that question and try to disseminate it to as many people as possible.
Sure. Let's see here. Someone said the lights turn off when leaving. I thought they automatically turned off at 11 p.m. No, that's actually the doors automatically turn off with key fob access at specific hours. So we're going to look into see if we can make adjustments with certain lights as well. Okay, so old business. Oh, Taylor Morrison update. We're going to save that for new business. Oh no, I lie. See, this is we are down one person here and we're picking up the slack. So I'm doing a lot more. So I am a little all over the place. We do have an update.
Yeah,
Go
for
ahead,
old
Steve.
for old business, real quick. I'm sorry, is that where we're at? Old business?
Yeah, let's do old business first. I'm sorry,
Okay,
I'm all over the place.
So for political signs, as stated in detail at the last board meeting, yeah, we're seeing a lot more political signs. That's fine from just a cursory walk around. Everybody's following the county's ordinances on the size and placement of their political signs. That's great. We just ask that if you put any more political signs in your yards, you just be mindful of how that impacts our landscaper. So yeah, thanks for listening at our last board meeting and understanding the county's ordinance on political yard signs in the urban growth area. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. We do have it's not really a Taylor Morrison update. We decided to announce this today, and this was already shared with the community. We do have an Oak Tree staffing update. I know that there was some chatter, and I think everyone by this time knows that unfortunately Brandy is no longer with us. It was a board decision that we made, and it wasn't taken lightly, but we really need to make sure that we are appropriately staffed for the success and the future growth for the association. And really, it kind of was fundamentally based on our experience and feedback that we received from community members. And it just wasn't the right fit and it wasn't supporting our growth. So we decided to make a change. And with that, we're going to kind of have a different staffing model as well, because now that we have the villages, I think we understand our needs a little bit better moving forward. And with that, we will be promoting Takara. And Takara is going to be your lifestyle and your association manager. She's not leaving. So she's in the interim is going to be getting on board with a lot of things. So please be patient with her. We actually have another Nova employee on the call, Stephanie. You might see her depending on where she's at in your screen. She's waving. Stephanie is from Nova, and she's going to be direct dedicated support for Takara as well as she gets integrated. There's a lot of things that Takara didn't see in Mac and utilize on the portal. She'll also need to get some training as well. And then we're going to be working on hiring her assistant. So we will have more staffing, and we're looking at other staffing needs as well. So we are very aware, actively working on it. And I think Takara she's definitely shown her capacity and her capability through your homeowner villages event that she put on. And she was very integral for the success of that delivery. And she was a great resource, not only for me, but for the homeowners to make that awesome. So we are excited to announce that. I think some people just assumed, but she will be working towards being kind of that GM type position. So you can send her stuff, but she might not know how to answer right away, but she does have the resources to get you the answer. And we know that she's really good with her communication. And that was something that was paramount for our success for our community. So that is it's not really a Taylor Morrison update, but that's more of a board update. So that's great. And then I will go to the hot topic everyone wants to know about, and kind of me going, So as we know, the pool is not open yet. I will share what I know. and trying to be as transparent as possible. We, Taylor Morrison, we are ready. We've done everything and corrected all the items that have been notated per the previous inspections. We, as the HOA, are ready. We have a lot of things dialed in, meaning we've been working with feedback from homeowners and the amenities committee to get things dialed in terms of like fitness schedules, stuff like that. We are waiting. I know it's this maintenance manual that's kind of giving us gas. We're waiting for approval of the final maintenance manual. It goes through county and state review, so it just hasn't passed through all the hands. And pretty much once we get that final approval, the final inspection can be scheduled. We are trying everything to get it open. So it could be soon, like Monday, you know, as long as we get that go ahead, we can get that final inspection scheduled. We are all dialed in and anxiously awaiting for that. And I know that my division president is wanting to put on a kind of an opening celebration and an appreciation for the homeowners once it's open. So more to come with that, because he literally just told me about an hour before the call. So I don't have any specific details of what that. If you've got any ideas and suggestions, you can send them to Cara and she can get them to me and be more than happy to consider and provide feedback what that could look like. So we've had someone just put something in chat. Sorry, it's hard for me. It's distracting. I'm already a squirrel. For those that don't know, we have had some challenges. I think after our last board call, we did get some traction and we got a different inspector and they showed up on site with their boss, the head person, and they did a pre-inspection. So I think, you know, whatever was going on recently, we got through that. So we're not dealing with the same inspector. We have a different inspector. We're just kind of dealing with the timeline of getting things through, just like we deal with kind of paper blogs when we're trying to get permits and stuff like that. So yeah, we're getting there. I had hoped at this time that the pool had been open. I will say that with some feedback, when the pool does open, there's going to be a determined time where it's just going to be open for sort of open swim. We just want you to kind of get in there and enjoy it. We have discovered with the other aspects of the amenity opening, it's been really helpful to get your feedback and ideas before we really lock into some stuff. So we do have some tentative things dialed in, but we really are looking for feedback and suggestions with that. So there will be a period where it just will be some sort of free form open swim. And then we'll kind of integrate a schedule and start with some fitness things and times for lap swim, dedicated things like that. So just, you know, we want people to enjoy it for a little bit and then start kind of organizing. Our schedule might be a little conservative, and I think that's some feedback we've also received with other aspects. It's easier to be a little bit more conservative and then expand it versus it being too out there and then reeling it back in. No one likes the other way around. So it's not set in stone. We can flex as we go. There might be some parameters dictated by the pool, but we'll work through those. And we'll know those definitively with the final inspection, but we are set up and we're ready to go as soon as we get that final inspection. So that is that. And there has been a couple of comments that we've received also about paying. The association has not paid for the pool because it has not been open and delivered to you. So you're currently not paying for maintenance and cost for the pool currently. So when it does open, that eventually will be a cost that's transferred over to the association for operation. We are still working through all sorts of installation issues. I think I saw something somewhere where someone had said, you know, make sure you do this before December sign off. There is no December sign off. There is a formal transition process when we formally hand over the amenities, and that would be the pavilion and the villages would be apply. It's a Taylor Morrison policy where we do have an inspection done and then there's items identified and they get addressed. So that will happen at a later date, but we're still working through actively. Takara has been great facilitating because she's on site. She gives us a lot of day by day, minute by minute feedback on things that need to be addressed on the Taylor Morrison side. So I just don't want people to feel like they're just getting it handed and dropped in their lap without any assistance. That's absolutely not the case. For those that were in the community, when the pavilion was delivered, it was kind of a similar concept, and we worked through a lot of those issues. So, going to do the same with the villages. We're not going to just sign it off and hand it over. So, just want everyone to know that there is a formal process for that to happen. Let's see. We do have an announcement for our election advisory group, and Kathy Varney and Robin Adams have been actively organizing that. And I believe I saw them on the call earlier, and we're going to allow them to speak to this new group that has been stood up to help facilitate with our voting and our budget ratification process. So Kathy, where are you?
We're right
Saw
here.
you. There you are.
If
Gotta
we
just
speak,
talk.
you'll see us.
Yep.
Well, we're going to be brief because the only thing standing between you and the end of this meeting is us. So we're going to be really quick, but I think it's important to meet the election advisory group and talk a little bit about why we're formed. And it was formed because there were some parts of the process that definitely needed a little bit of improvement. And the board and the HOA have worked very collaboratively with us to improve these processes. And it's things like notification time for homeowners when the budget packet goes out, or forums that clarify issues for you. So there is a need for dual system in voting. People really struggled with only an electronic system last year. So those are some of the things that we've been working on, and Robin's going to tell you where we're at right now.
Thank you. The progress up to date is Zoom is still going to be the meeting platform, but the homeowners will now be able to cast a proxy ballot, in a drop box located at the villages up until November 4th or 12th. If the homeowner chooses, they can drop a ballot off during the Zoom meeting at the villages, or they can cast their vote electronically during the Zoom meeting. That also provides the option of a paper voting system, or the proxy could be delivered to the villages at any time up to November 12th. There will be a budget information form tentatively scheduled for November 4th, in addition to the one-on-one sessions from during the year. And the last one is draft. We have put together draft instructions to voters, and that is completed and under review with the board at this time.
So you will meet. There are many of us. I'm just going to tell you who's on the committee really quick. Besides Robin and myself, Sue Bundren, Doreen Dale, Cliff Samuels, Joan Zaluska, Patty Shobe, Jerry Owens, and Kathleen Poole. So all these people are situated close to you in the neighborhood. You'll be meeting them, and we're here to help. The things that we can answer are the voting process. Things we cannot answer are questions on the budget itself. So we'll always direct you back to the budget advisory group or the board or the HOA. But if you have a question on the voting process, we're here to help. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been actively working with them, like they said. And, the collaboration actually has been really great, because I think, as Kathy and Robin reiterate, when we've met with them and the rest of the EAG election advisory group, by the way, it's been the collaboration has really created a larger sense of transparency. And I know that's been a request from a lot of homeowners. So we do appreciate them working with us so closely and collaborating as well. With that also in mind, we are working on kind of creating kind of like a town home forum where we have a lot of representatives in the community, like members of your landscape committee, your budget advisory committee, board members and whatnot, to ask questions about the budget. So we are organizing that, and we will have more information to come out that soon. We're kind of trying to get all those details dialed in. And then we do have a board candidate election that is going to be set for February of 2025. And the EAG will also be working on how to work on candidates, getting notification out about candidates, information, and the voting process for that as well. So they have that dual role with budget ratification voting and board election voting. And that election in February 2025 is to elect another homeowner to the declarant board to serve with myself and Steve and the two other more silent Taylor Morrison board members. And then that means we've hit 50% of the unit count in the community has closed. So that is a big milestone for our community, for those who've been here for a while and those who've just arrived. The next big milestone would be 75% of the total unit count closed. That will be your transition meeting. And that's where you elect a full 5-member homeowner board and the declarant board members resign. And I would not have any more decision-making capacity for your community, but I would step aside and be here to advise. But so those are your big milestones. We're getting close to 50%. So we will have that in February of 2025, sort of the latter half of the month. So keep thinking about it if you're interested in possibly becoming a board member, and kind of ask questions if you want to know what that entails. What is it like? What would be a time commitment? I think those are valid things to think about, and maybe we'll maybe get a little informational piece, and maybe Steve can help me with that. We can craft that, and he can kind of maybe give a little insight to his experience and how it started and where he's at.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. And if anybody wants to come by and talk to me personally, first Thursday of any month between 11 and 2 at the Villages, if you want to hear what it's like to be a board member and the amount of time I spend at it, just if you have an interest in being a candidate, come, pluck some ideas out of me. Okay.
Great. Well, that's actually all we have for official business today. One new message in the chat. Let me see what that says. That's just a thank you. Okay, so this is the homeowner forum section. You can either unmute and ask your question or bring it up in the chat, whatever you're most comfortable with. I feel like this is where I need like Jeopardy music.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
James Jones. Hey, I'm just trying to figure, is there any way to communicate to the homeowners who don't attend these meetings about the pool updates? Because everybody's buzzing, there's a lot of chatter about it. But as you can tell by looking at the attendance here, a lot of people don't come to these meetings. So is there some way maybe they could be given an update from Taylor Morrison? A legit type update. I'm not sure, because people are buzzing in the Facebook, which you guys don't see. So that creates a problem for you.
You're not wrong about that. I appreciate that. I can work with Takara. She can get something out, and we can do a pool update. That's for sure. I forgot what else I was going to say. No, we can definitely do a pool update. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're currently on a schedule to do it every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks that it hasn't been delivered, we send out another update about the pool.
Yeah.
How does it go? How does that go out, Steve?
We call it an e-blast or an electronic blast. It's an email to everybody.
Okay.
If you haven't been getting those, then you really need to stop by and see Takara, because e-blasts are how we do a lot of our communication.
Okay, good. Because I just know with all the chatter that's going on now, the line's going to be wrapped down Oakwood for people waiting to get in that pool.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's it. I'm off.
I love it. He's not wrong. So someone's asking, is Takara working 2 jobs? Yes and no. So in the interim, we're trying to be very mindful and protective of her so she doesn't get overworked. But we are going to be working on hiring additional staff, as I mentioned before. So she won't be forever doing multiple jobs. She's just kind of in the interim helping the board, and we have assistance with the NOVA to help us with some administrative things as well. But yes and no. So we are getting her more staff. Someone asked, wasn't there a staff person hired for the Villages? Yes, we have Luke. He's a kind of more based on weekends. We have not expanded his role because obviously that's a salary consideration. We are in talks with him of possibly expanding his role and making sure he wants to grow with the community and he's the right fit. We are enjoying his presence already. So I actually have a call with him next Monday to kind of see what maybe next steps are and talk to him about that as well. So
this is Belle. Can community members volunteer to like work the desk at the Villages or Is that done at this facility? I don't know. It's my first 55 plus.
Sure. So I would ask that the amenities committee talk about the pros and cons, the pitfalls and the advantages to that, and give a proposal recommendation to the board on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Charlotte Green asked about the capital contribution and whether or not there would be an ask of the developer to raise it. Charlotte, we've asked that every single year that I've been on the board. We were very formal about it this year. The HOA obviously doesn't have any control over the capital contribution of new homes sold, but we can ask. So far, I know that Taylor Morrison is considering it, but we do not have any commitment from them to date.
Correct statement. Someone was asking, missing equipment. So yes, we did never found the missing pieces. Takara, what did you mention to me? We did have a leaf blower from the pavilion that got moved up.
And a toolkit has been replaced that we are using for our staffing needs, more or less. That we have taken the measures to secure as many items as possible as we were kind of working through the issues. As we all know, we were experiencing some door issues with the pressurization of the building and also getting everybody dialed in with their fob. So we've taken a lot of steps to alleviate that issue. We have not noticed anything else go missing. We have not had any additional security issues. We appreciate everyone in the community for keeping their eyes out for that. So I hope that works for an update for you. The items that went missing have not been replaced except for, like I said, that toolkit. But more information to come on that.
Yeah, and then someone asked about speeding by residents, and they asked if there was a safety committee. And I feel like there was a traffic, I don't remember their exact title, but there was a group that organized themselves and did actually traffic studies and had the speed monitoring signs in the community from Thurston County. Steve, do you remember the specifics on that?
Yeah, with relation to safety, to speeding, we can put in a request and get in line again for the traffic calming, radar sign that says your speed is this. That worked very well for a period of time. We can ask the county for that again. It's free of charge to the HOA, and that's a first step we can take.
And then someone's asking about making Bow Thorpe intersection a four-way stop. That's actually not a Taylor Morrison decision. That is a Thurston County decision. I know this conversation about intersections and crosswalks have come up previously in the past. That would be up to them. I would say reach out and see if it appeals to them. In regards to speeding, I remember there was a lot of research and dialogue about speed bumps because there was a lot of traction about getting speed bumps installed, and they did communicate and connect with Thurston County. And I remember they would allow us to put speed bumps because your road, that Oakwood, is considered a major arterial to them in terms of their road design. And it would have cost like 70K to put in the asphalt speed bumps. And that would be a cost solely borne by the association. They're like, fine, do it, but you have to do it by their standards, their materials, their spec, and you pay. So, I mean, if people want to organize themselves and, like Steve said, request the sign again, I mean, that's what that group did, is they decided to take that on.
Jennifer?
Mm-hmm.
The speed bumps, speed humps thing. In one of my last lives, I worked with speed calming. And one of the issues we had came from the fire engines and the ambulances, because it would have to be a speed hump versus speed bump.
Correct.
And I would think that I would not want anything to slow down those emergency vehicles coming into this community, period.
Yeah, I don't want the rest of the, I agree with you. I don't want the rest of the forum to be about speed calming measures. It's something we can put on the agenda. It'd be an excellent agenda item under the, at the very top, homeowner submitted agenda items for next time.
Okay. I just have one more request, and then I'm gonna bug out of this. And that's the weight conversion signs in the gym. Could they be larger and maybe put in different places? Because if you don't know to look at the cubby, you won't see those weight conversion signs. So if you think you're pulling 30 pounds, you're gonna have a surprise when you actually try to lift those weights.
Great feedback, James. I'll look into that.
Thank you, Takara. And by the way, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You've always been my GM, just so you know.
Thank you.
That's cute. Looks like we got a lot of just bocce balls, it looks like.
And just to speak to that, Charlotte, thank you for bringing that up. The bag did not go missing. One of our wonderful community members, Michael Page, graciously took it home and mended it himself because it was starting to get holes in it. So it is back now, and it'll be reunited with its bocce balls very shortly. But thank you for bringing that to our attention. It is not missing. It's just getting a makeover.
Cool. Well, great attendance. I love seeing, well, we had a total of 101 people on the call minus the 5 staff members. So 96 homeowners is awesome. We like to see it. Love a lot of attendance. And once again, like we record these, and once we can get them compressed and downloaded, we'll get them the meeting disseminated out to everyone. So those who weren't present can watch and listen and hear and get the same information. Once again, if you have any questions, please send them over to Dakara for the board. You can use the portal to send a board message, discussion topic. We get those and we respond to those. So please communicate. We appreciate it. And yeah, thank you. Another good meeting, successful meeting. And we look forward to seeing you in November for our budget ratification. Hopefully we'll be smiling. Good night.